This machine is called the upcut saw. Now the upcut saw is very simple to use. This is where the blade is housed. It's on the side of the machine. We have our outfeed table and we have our infeed table. Something to get a measurement, which I'll go to in a second. And really everything is run, once it's in place, you just hit the pedal down here on the floor. So I'm going to go through and explain a few of the parts and pieces and how this works. Here's the main console where all the buttons are to turn it on and air pressure. The main power, this light needs to be on for it to work. Turn this clockwise and now it actually has power and will work. Now try to turn it on. If it doesn't turn on, then likely the brake is inset, it's in. It sticks in, so if I twist, it pops out. There's a spring to pop it out. So if I push it in to turn it off, it stays in. So I can't accidentally turn it back on and my hand may be under there grabbing something. So twist and let go. It'll pop itself out. You don't need to grab and yank it out and break the switch. Now it'll turn on. It speeds up and it's good to go. Turn it back off. The other two switches here have to do with air pressure for the blade and for the bar that comes down and holds the board. But these are the main switches that you'll be touching, on and off and main power. Down on the floor is the pedal, and the thing about the pedal is you only need to tap it to make it work. So I would tap and the machine will do a complete run to make it go. You don't have to hold the pedal. Just tap it and it will do it. The main function of the upcut saw is to cross-cut lumber to either a rough length or exact length. So we're typically cutting boards much longer than this, but this will work just fine. When I say cross-cut, what I mean is cutting across the grain. We never want to rip. We never want to cut with the grain. The blade's not meant for that, just for cross-cutting. So the first thing we need to understand, and this goes for all the boards, is that we need to cut off, trim off what's called the factory end. Now if you look on this board, this end right here has been cut. Okay, you can tell it's a much lighter color than this end, which is rough. This is from the factory. The reason we always want to cut that off is cracks appear and you never know how far they're in. So you have to look and see. We want to cut off any defects first, then we can cut our length. Here are some other examples. As you can see, this board has a few cracks. There's one right there that goes about 3 inches in or so. This other one, this particular crack goes in almost 6, about 5 or 6 inches. And we need to cut all of that off. And I don't want this. This gets thrown away. In addition, some boards have paint on the end that we want to get rid of. Now you don't have to worry about paint on the surface, on the face. This will either get sanded or planed off later on. So this is okay. It's the end that we need to trim off. To figure out where and how long we want to cut to this board, we have this console that will change what length it's set to. First, you got to turn it on. That's this button right here. Turn it on, and it's telling me that it's at 14 inches right now. To change that, all you have to do is type in a number, let's say 18. If that's all the inches I want, 18, just press start, and it moves down. You can hear that it turned on and it has moved. If I want 24, 24 start, and so forth. If I want, say, 20 and 7/8, you can either put it in decimal, or if you don't know what that is, put in 20 inches, and then 7/8. Start. And now it's at 20 and 7/8. If I forget the inches part and put 20 and 7/8, I just put in 207/8, hit start, and it will try to figure out what you're talking about, but when it did the math, it's now at 25 and 7/8. So you need to make sure to push the inches mark. Okay, 36 and 5/8, 36 inches, 5/8, start. Now if you know the decimal, say 12.5, 12.5, I know the decimal, push start, and it comes right down and it's at 12.5. Decimal works just as well. So whatever's easier for you. 15 1/4, 15.25, start, and it works just fine. I'm going to cut this board to 24 inches. So I push that down to 24. I have my factory end that I need to cut off. To cut off factory ends, simply guess. I see a little crack that goes about this far, so I'm going to cut about 2 inches off. Just guess. Turn off the brake, press on, and I'm just looking down where the blade will cut, about in the middle of this cover, and then tap the pedal. For little boards like that, you never want to put your hand in there to get it. Never go underneath to get it. I just take my big board and push it out, and then I see if I can break it. If it breaks, it means the crack went farther and I need to take off a little more. This one doesn't break, so I'm good to go. Now just move it down to the stop. Make sure it is down on the table and all the way back against the fence. And then cut it. Then I can take it out the other side and shut down. When I say rough cut, what I mean is find the exact length of the board and add 1 inch. So this board will be 23 when I'm all done squaring it up. So rough cut, add 1 inch to whatever your exact length is. The minimum length that I want to cut on this saw is 12 inches long. So don't cut anything less than 12 inches on this machine. And again, any small pieces, any defects that here, we want to cut those off. If anything is left down here and your piece that's left is too small to get in there, go ahead and just reach up to another, another board, something longer, that's fine. Stick it under there to get pieces out. You just don't want people's hands underneath that saw. So overall, this is a very simple machine. Just make sure to set your dimensions correctly, adding 1 inch for a rough cut. It will cut exact, and it's very accurate. But to cut exact, it must have a jointed edge. It must have a flat, straight edge. Neither of these are flat coming from my lumber room. So make sure those things are fulfilled before you make your cut.